Hello and welcome to SportsVoice, or shall I say, Mega SportsVoice. I'm Sammy Krimstein with my lovely co-host Claire Connor, and we have not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 guests today. One is coming, I think, shortly. So it's going to be a fun one. This is something we've never done before. Very glad that you guys all wanted to come on the show. So before we get into the meat of the matter, real quick, if everyone could kind of go just down the line. We can start with Matt, if you want to say something again.
Yeah. So back on SportsVoice, I think this is what, like, my 3rd appearance.
Yeah, Matt is a SportsVoice veteran. I think if you
SportsVoice
get 3,
veteran
you're a
now.
veteran. Yeah.
But I'm gonna make this quick because I got something to get off my chest. Starting off on a somber note, even though this is an electric show. Got the news yesterday that my godfather had passed away, and he was like the OG radio guy of our family. So, I'm back on SportsVoice, as, kind of a tribute to him because, I feel like that's what he wanted. Found out pretty late. Ironically, he had passed away the morning of, the start of Radiothon. And I was the one that actually kicked off Radiothon with the men's soccer recap, so that show just kind of means a lot more to me. That was also the debut of our Instagram Live, our men's basketball halftime Instagram Live series that, we're kind of getting going as underclassmen, so that also means a lot to me. But, I'm kind of here to offer my appearance on this radio show as, coping mechanism for my family. It's an electric show, and not to be corny, but, it kind of fits his personality. He was an electric guy, obviously a radio host. He hosted his own show. I'm running a little long, so I'm gonna cut it short. But, I'm just happy to be here. It's emotional for me, and I'm just kind of proud to be a part of such a group, where I can express that and, kind of be like the next radio guy of my family to honor his legacy.
Yeah, well, that's great stuff. I mean, it's always a good time with you, Matt. Anytime we're on a show together, obviously, always a good time. Also a sports voice vet here, I should say. It's been a few weeks. Because,
Calvin may be the vet of vets at this point.
The vet of all vets at this point on Sports Voice. I always enjoy coming on the show week in, week out. But very excited. We got some good pick'ems and a good draft today. I obviously never been a show this big in terms of being on the regular sports block.
I don't know if this may be an all-time record.
Yeah.
Freshman Palooza for the Sportsathon does have this beat, but not in terms of the regular. Not in terms of the regular sports block.
We've had shows with a packed OACR before, so
That's true.
I don't know if it's a record in terms of people on a WNUR sports show, but for Sports Voice, this might be a record. So we'll see if we can make it work, Sammy.
We got Matt and Calvin veterans, and then Ava and Kyra are both new here to the Sports Voice.
I didn't know there'd be so many veterans in the room today, so I guess I'm the first amateur to speak. So my goal is just not to screw up, I guess.
No, you'll be great. We're excited to have you on.
Yeah, but I'm also very excited. It sounds like a very electrifying show, just based on my co-hosties over here. Yeah, excited.
All right.
Yes, I'm also a first-timer, Kyra. I'm excited. I've heard so many good things about SportsVoice, so I'm ready to get it started.
Yay.
All right, we're glad to hear you're hearing good things. It means we're doing our job, I guess.
Gabe, you can roll over if you want
Yeah,
to.
you can definitely roll over.
I was talking to Sammy a few weeks ago, and he's like, "Man, you're never coming on SportsVoice." And I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll come on this week." But yeah, it's gonna be electric.
Yeah.
Electric boogie woogie.
Thank you.
There we go.
If there was any doubt about our ability to get our guests to come back and to give them a great experience, 2 of them won't get to sit down as they speak in this week's episode. So we really bring all of the amenities minus chairs. But it's been a great week, Sammy. An awesome week here at Northwestern.
Electric week.
An electric week. Yeah, we're a big fan of that word. We often introduce Sports Voice in meetings, weekly recap, how was it? And everyone's pretty used to us saying we had an electric episode of Sports Voice this week. So hoping to bring it this week for all of you.
Never acoustic.
Never acoustic. It's never that acoustic. It's not always electric dance music. It can be other forms of electric music. But it's definitely electric. To move on to maybe a slightly less electric note, we do have to talk about men's basketball, which is suffering from a couple injuries. The biggest, obviously, being Brooks Barnhizer, a likely career-ending injury took him out around that Rutgers game earlier in the season. Now Jalen Leach, his season is over with Northwestern, so a rough couple of injuries have the Cats as a team really hurting. But I guess, Sammy, we'll start with that Washington game on the road. The Cats won the second half, but not by enough. They lost to Washington. It was 76-71 at the end. A close game. Martinelli with 23 points to lead scoring for the Wildcats, and Jordan Clayton getting another start. So, a lot of things happening in this game. Collins burning his red shirt.
Yeah.
Probably going to be a bunch of opinions about that, but maybe we can start there with that Washington game.
We could probably, it's been a rough week. I think we could probably group these games all together because Northwestern goes to the West Coast and with a chance to maybe keep their season alive with a miracle. But they lose to Washington, they lose to Oregon, and then today they had a big 20-point lead over Nebraska at home, and it vanished. So that's now a few straight losses for Northwestern. All hopes of the tournament are gone, and even the Big Ten tournament is seeming like it's potentially not going to happen. So let's start with our newcomers here. Let's go with Ava first. Thoughts on this? What has been a rough week of Northwestern basketball here?
Yeah, well, something for me that's been top of my mind is this thing with Jordan Clayton deciding to burn his red shirt. I think I come from a bit of a different perspective as a student athlete myself. I'm thinking more from the personal standpoint.
Yeah,
of just,
for those of people who don't know, so what sport do you play here in Northwestern?
Soccer.
Awesome, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, keep going.
But I'm just thinking, I feel like I'm in his shoes in this situation where just, not only, how did Collins, approach this conversation with him, or if Clayton, vice versa, approached Collins. I'd be really interested to hear how that conversation went down. And also, just what factors motivated him to make this very monumental decision. Because I don't know if that means he's just certain he doesn't want a fifth year. Because at least in the student-athlete arena, that fifth year is very coveted in terms of being able to use that and I don't know, with NBA desires or whatnot. My other thought is maybe this could enhance his value if he does decide to transfer in the portal at the end of the season, just because I know preseason there were talks about him with deciding to redshirt about whether he would end up going in the portal postseason. So this could certainly enhance his value in terms of just being able to get time on the court. So yeah.
It's honestly, it's just been sad to watch as a fan. I really just think it comes down to finishing games. I think we thought Nick Martinelli was going to be the closer, and he has been playing really well, but we've seen the past 3 games, they can't close, especially today, giving up that huge of a lead, and then an ending like that, don't even get a shot off at the end. It's I don't know if it's the team is just bad energy due to all the injuries or what, but it's just kind of it's a lack of effort at the end. And it would be, I think, easier as a fan if we're getting blown out every game, but the fact that we're not, they have the capabilities to win every game. They're not losing, getting blown out all the time. They just don't finish, and I don't think they play with the same intensity that they start off with, which is something that needs to be fixed, especially for next season if they want to start off well.
Yeah, absolutely. As we now have Pierson rolling in. Welcome, Pierson. Because we've been enough people in the OACR already.
Pierson, we have a chair for you over here.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it might be easiest.
Okay.
We could. Yeah, well, as we get that sorted out, I want to stick with basketball here for a second. And for those of you who haven't chimed in yet, we've had a chance to look back and reflect on what's been a pretty bad week for Northwestern. Let's look ahead now for the 3 of you guys. What's next? What's the mindset? Are we thinking about next year yet? Are we already thinking about that recruiting class for next year? Where is the thought process right now as you look ahead as a Northwestern fan?
I'm looking ahead to the rest of the season. I don't even want to talk about the rest of the season because that loss today was so deflating. But I'm just worried about Nick Martinelli's role next year and how much of a burden that it's going to be because Ty Berry's gone. Leach is gone. Brooks Barnheiser, barring some kind of medical excuse, miracle is gone. Matt Nicholson, Fitzmaurice are gone. So that means Martinelli as a senior is going to have the majority of the scoring responsibility on his shoulders, which is, something that he can clearly handle. He's been, in my opinion, one of the best players in the Big Ten throughout the season. But what scares me is that Nick Martinelli and Ty Berry can put up 20 points, and Northwestern can still find a way to lose. So at that point, it's kind of like, what do you do? And yeah, I guess Coach Collins, when I asked him today in the presser, he attributed that to, the short rotation because of injuries, Leach and Barnheiser out for the season. But, I feel like you gotta be scared when, your best player can play out of his mind the entire season and still not have support coming off the bench to, relieve him of some of that pressure. Because it's almost like if Nick Martinelli's not scoring more than 30 points, Northwestern finds a way to lose. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this season is lost. I'm, again, very much not surprised if the Cats would not make the Big Ten tournament this year. But I think next year there's a lot to look forward to that starts with the recruits. Here's the reason I'm optimistic. You have Nick Martinelli, who's someone who has really come on and been the biggest breakout for the team this year. And barring injuries, I think if the Cats were fully healthy, I think they would have been a tournament team. I will say it right now. I said at the beginning of the season, Jalen Leach was the make or break. I think he would have been the make. If he had played the whole year, he would have continued to elevate his game as he did over those last few games before getting hurt. But for next season, I mean, there's so much to look forward to, and it starts with the recruits. I think when Jake West, the Northwestern really has potential to get like a true point guard option, a true combo guard option that they didn't have this season. Trey Singleton and Cade Brenneman inside, two players who add a lot of height and also physicality to really an inside game that Northwestern has struggled with, because while their guards have been excellent at rebounding, I think someone like Matt Nicholson has been inconsistent throughout the entire season. So there are a number of recruits too. I mean, this is a 5-player freshman class coming in, and someone like Martinelli has all of the leadership attributes that you need. He is someone, if you're mentored by Brooks Barnheiser, he is now someone with Barnheiser out who is ascending to that level of leadership. And I think next year he'll be all the way there. Chris Collins knows how to get the most out of Nick Martinelli. You see it. Whenever Chris Collins gives him that motivational pep talk, the you need to step up kind of thing before the games, Martinelli comes out and he delivers. I think next year is very, very exciting. I think the Cats could find their way back to the tournament. There's a lot to look forward to with Martinelli and these recruits.
Just take the next one.
Yeah, so we're going to move things on here from men's basketball as... it's so many people, so much to get to today, and it is also crossover season, which makes our jobs even trickier because there is just so much going on. Where to go next? Let's go women's lacrosse next. I know a few of the people here were at that game, Lake Show, and it was a big one this week. Some say it was bigger than the Super Bowl. Number one, Boston College in town, taking on Northwestern, national championship rematch from last year. And Northwestern, of course, fell last year in a heartbreaker. So this was a big opportunity for Northwestern at home to avenge that loss and show that even without Izzy Skane, right, they're still here. And they played well. It was a good game. They had to come back, but they just could not finish the job. Boston College just outlasted them in that one. So... Matt, you were there, right?
I got the.
You got the shirt, right?
I got the shirt on. Of course I was.
All right, and then Pierson, you were there.
I was there.
So I'll go, and Calvin was also there. Okay, so we'll go with those three guys for this one, and then maybe switch it up on the next one. So takeaways from this game, and should we be concerned? Like, is this Northwestern team lesser without Izzy Skane?
I'm gonna let Pierson take this one because he just walked in and I need to let him get a word in.
There we go.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, I don't think this team's necessarily lesser. I think they have a lot of great transfers who came in this season. I mean, yes, it is a loss to Boston College, but it's also the number one team in the country, right? I think that Northwestern, if they fall, will only fall to 3. I don't think that's the end of the world. I mean, I think that maybe if they pile up more losses against some of these other teams who are lower ranked than them, that's possible. But whenever you go against a 1 seed, it's not a guarantee. And it was a great game. They started off really slow, and part of that's because they had a goalkeeper who just came back, right, off of a hiatus and off of injury, and also as a transfer, right, from Syracuse. And so it's like they had a lot of building blocks, and they almost came back in a game that looked like it was already over after the first half. And so I think the biggest takeaway there is, like, they can compete, and I wouldn't be surprised if this game is a rematch of the Natty later on this season.
That'll be exciting stuff. Yeah, let me go one more for this one and then move on. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I'll keep it quick. I was at the game as well with Pierson. I was actually on the call with Tomas, so shout out Tomas as well.
Oh,
it was
right,
a
nice.
super fun game, and I mean, a very fun one to be on the call for. But yeah, Northwestern, I mean, the story of the game was them getting down in a hole, and you have to wonder if it was due to the idea that Schweitzer could transfer from Syracuse, missed the first 2 games, and then came in there, because I think there was so much of a difference between what we saw from Delaney Schweitzer the first 20 minutes, which, to be fair, the defense didn't put her in that good of spots. They allowed a lot of shots to come, and a lot of wide open shots specifically that are tough to get saves on. But through the first 20 minutes, she let in 6 of her first 7 shots on goal, and that's something that put Northwestern in a hole that they just weren't able to recover from. I will say the last 40 minutes of Schweitzer were stellar. She really measured up to Shea Dolce on Boston College, and Northwestern was able to make a mini comeback, but it's something where your first game this season, Schweitzer gets thrown into the fire against the best team in the country in Boston College. That's a tough way to start, and even someone like Schweitzer, who was the 2023 ACC Goalkeeper of the Year, she had trouble at first, bounced back for an excellent game overall, but I think that 6-0 hole was the difference.
Yeah. The first 6 goals, like, I just want to make a quick note. First 6 goals from Boston College, 4 of them were unassisted, and Northwestern didn't answer back until 10:58 of the second period. Shout out Madison Taylor, 4 goals on the day. But you know, like, what is Schweitzer supposed to do? 4 out of 6 are unassisted. That's just bad defense, and there's no excuse for it.
Matt, you're right. It was a tough game for the Wildcats defense, tough game for the Wildcats in general, who, you know, really were looking for a sense of redemption, especially after the way that national championship went last year. I was there after, you know, a season of having called lacrosse for the first time. It was a new sport for me. So Calvin, you guys did an awesome job, way better than my first play-by-play lacrosse broadcast, where there were kind of like every now and then a 2-minute period of silence on the air because I just had no idea what was going on. So awesome job to the 2 of you. Transitioning onto a sport where we have good news is baseball. You know, an awesome series win at Long Beach State. They lost the first game 19-6 with a good performance from Tyler Gannis, a graduate of my high school alma mater, Harvard
there we go.
Westlake.
Got to get a Harvard Westlake shout out.
I had to get a Harvard Westlake shout out, and there's a reason why, because if you look at the Cats starting lineup, we've got Tyler Gannis, went to Harvard Westlake. He went to Oregon afterward. He's now a grad transfer. You've got Bennett Markinson, another Harvard Westlake grad who's been a mainstay of that lineup for the Cats in the past. You've got Marty Kaplan, who I think I've known since kindergarten. He went to my elementary school, middle school, and high school, Harvard Westlake. Wait, who else? There's one other.
Some transfer, I think.
Oh, Sam Lubaki.
Yeah.
Also a Harvard Westlake
Great
grad.
name, by the way. Yeah,
So a fantastic name.
Yeah.
But, you know, really, I think there's a solid percentage of this team that I went to high school with, which is really awesome. But Tyler Gannis really having a breakout series here. Great performance is in all 3 games, getting things done for the Wildcats. But, yeah, baseball now has, it's unusual that baseball has the best record of the sort of 3 main sports of football, basketball, and baseball. But they do now.
They will cherish it while they can.
You know, albeit against Long Beach State, but you know,
so those California mid majors aren't too bad.
No, they're not too bad. You know, we'll see how they fare later on in Big Ten play. Mm-hmm. But for all of you, I think maybe we'll start with Gabe on this one. He really wants to talk about baseball. You know, what are some early thoughts here about this season?
Baseball's my sport, man.
There's kind of a twinkle in Gabe's eye that comes
out
whenever
someone talks about baseball.
Up, so.
Sammy and I, when we prepare for calls, we say everything in terms of baseball.
Yeah, everything has to relate.
No, Long Beach State is a good team. If I recall correctly, they produced Jaron Duran. So really good performance. I was really impressed by the Cats this weekend. I'm really high on their pitching staff too this year. I think that's my big takeaway.
It's a lot better.
I'm really high on Garrett Shearer. I think he's going to be a legitimate ace this season, and he showed it in the first start. I think his progress too, like he bumped up, I believe it was 8 or 9 miles an hour from high school to his freshman year at Northwestern. He was topping out at 95, 96 on the gun last year.
That's what they like to call projectable.
Yeah, no, like Garrett Shearer is, and granted that might go down long term if he's going into the rotation, but I'm very high on him. I'm really high on Alex Grant. I thought Alex Grant pitched a really good 9th and stopped the bleeding in the first game. He was originally committed to Vanderbilt too. Is something that not everyone knows. He was committed to Vanderbilt, one of the best programs in the country, and the fact that he's coming to Northwestern instead, I think he can be a piece of the future. And yeah, especially I think just the team mentality to be losing that first game 19-6 and come back to win the next 2 takes a real shift in mindset and shows that this team isn't only strong physically on the diamond, but is strong mentally.
Yeah. Maybe we can get one more on baseball. Whoever wants to talk.
I was a little concerned, and I thought I had a hex against me because I made a point about Northwestern having a sub-4 ERA this season, and then they proceeded to give up 19 runs on opening day. So I was a little shook. But what comforts me today is that Jackson Freeman and Bennett Markinson today had a tough day to play. Combined, they went 0 for 9, and Northwestern still found a way to win. That's huge. Those are the two best offensive players in the lineup, and Northwestern proving that they can win without them makes me feel like they have a shot against Indiana. They have a shot against number 11 Duke. They have a shot against, Illinois. Oh, well, Illinois might be, a bit of a stretch right now, but against those middling and those upper Big Ten teams, I feel a lot more confident knowing that Northwestern can find a way to win.
Yeah,
that's huge.
No, I mean it was. First game was like, here we go again. Kind of like you were saying, Matt. But two really strong pitching performances in games 2 and 3. I mean, and look, if you can keep your opponent under 6 runs, you're in a ball game. And that's what Northwestern did in games 2 and 3. Shearer was great. Shout out to Matthew Kauser in his first, his college debut, true freshman. Just lighting it up, 6 innings. I think maybe 1 run, maybe. But, I mean, only 4 walks. Because that was the issue in the first game. They walked like 13 guys. You can't be doing that if you want to have success. So it's one series. It's an opening series. I believe someone said it was their first opening series win since 2008 or something. So it's with Northwestern baseball, you got to take small victories when you can get them, and this is one of them. And I mean, I think this team will take a big step in the right direction this year. If this opening weekend is any sort of tell. We're going to move on now to our second segment of the evening, Pick'em. For those of you who are new to the show, Pick'em, it's our fun little middle segment where we pose some fun questions, usually sports related, but sometimes just sports adjacent. We vary it up. And today, since we have so many, usually everyone gets to do all the questions, but today we're going to do more of like a head-to-head style. So before the show, we split up the teams, or the matchups, and I want to go opposite order of what's on our rundown. So our first pick'em, we titled it Crazy Trades, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. This is our first show since the insane Luka Doncic trade to the Lakers. I think that happened like seconds after our last show. We just missed it.
It did.
So that was obviously one of the craziest trades ever, probably the craziest one in our lifetimes. So we're going to have Gabe and Kyra go for this one. What will be the next crazy trade? Any sport, hit me in any direction. What is going to be the next shocking trade that goes down in the world of sports?
So I wanted to make sure I'm going crazy enough for this. I have a tendency to be too reasonable in my trade predictions.
Will this be baseball?
Yes.
Okay,
I think Paul Skeens gets moved.
I can see that.
I think so. Hear me out. The Pirates have not signed a multi-year free agent deal since Ivan Nova in December of 2016.
What a name!
So
nostalgia.
They're
Man.
clearly not trying to contend. I could completely see a world in which Paul Skeens just requests a trade. He's the number 1 overall pick. Frankly, I think he already has the best stuff out of anyone in the league. I think there's an argument that he's the best pitcher in baseball. It's him, Wheeler, or Skubal probably. But I think you can make the argument that he has that. The Pirates, I mean, they signed the Reynolds extension, but other than that, what do you have? You have Reynolds, you have Jared Jones, and you have not much else. They're not going to be in his window. I could see a crazy trade where you move him to some team like the Tigers. The Tigers basing maybe a package around Max Clark, Kevin McGonigal, maybe throw in a reclamation project like a Casey Mize or a Spencer Torkelson in there. I think could get it done, and the Pirates could try to get that volume out of them and have a better projectable future.
All right, that's a fun one. And Kyra, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm going to go pretty wild. I'm going to trend on the note of Luka.
Okay.
I'm going to say Nikola Jokic will end up a New York Knick.
Oh, okay. Wow. And so do you have an idea of what this return package will be for Nikola Jokic?
Not completely sure. I know they'll throw Mitchell Robinson in there.
Okay.
I think the Knicks will give away quite a bit, but I think, the NBA's been put on notice. A lot of the players are speaking out about it. It's now these international stars in big markets. What's a bigger market than the New York Knicks? All-Star Weekend. Kat's been chatting Jokic a bit, so who knows? Maybe
So there we go. That's the next one that's going to shock our world. Yeah, that would after the Luka trade. If that happened, I don't know what I'd do.
I think we'd flip out. Yeah, a fun fact about was it us and Eli, the two of us and Eli who were walking?
Yes.
The three of us after after
Yeah,
Sports
oh, right,
Event,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
after it wasn't seconds after our show. It was about an hour after our show, seconds after SFAD, Sports Voice After Dark. We get into the crosswalk in between
Right past the
right on
arch.
Sheridan, right past the arch, and our friend of the broad.
There we go.
Eli Cronenberg reads out a tweet saying that Luka has been traded to the Lakers for AD. There's some other.
Oh, and Eli was just like, "There's no way this is real." Like he's like, "Shams must have been hacked."
Yes, we spend our whole walk. First of all, we were stopped in the middle of that crosswalk for like a solid 20 seconds.
And keep in mind, it's like 5 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's
maybe.
really cold. But we walk sort of toward Allison, toward the quad, and we're just kind of brainstorming, like, who would hack him, what would be their motive, how would they do it. There wasn't even a dimension to this of like, is this real? It was all about this great hack and how it was pulled off. And of course, a couple minutes later, we learned that actually this is totally real. And it was just completely mind-boggling. So yeah, I guess that takes us to our next pick'em.
I'm excited for this one.
I'm really excited. This is called Director's Cut. We like to use movies a lot here in pick'em on Sports Voice. We've done just best sports movie in the past. We've done a Field of Dreams based pick'em about sort of building your dream field. So we've had a lot of best of existing movies or themes on existing movies. In this case, there's so many of those classics that are out there. But now it's our turn. You get to kind of play writer a little bit. So pick the next big sports blockbuster for this pick'em. You get to sort of invent the story. You can invent what it's about. But give us a quick elevator pitch for a blockbuster and be creative. This one we're going to have Ava and Calvin. Calvin, we'll start with you.
All right, so, this might be because March Madness is just around the corner. I think there needs to be a March Madness-themed movie, and it's going to be all centered around an office bracket pool. You have, of course, all these competitive coworkers putting in maybe some significant money. It's not insignificant money that sometimes goes into these office bracket pools. In the main character, you have this guy who has been pursuing a sports journalism career and has just failed. He failed, he did not reach his dreams, and he's in a corporate job that he wants to climb the corporate ladder, but at the same time he misses his aspirations. And so he, along with a couple of friends, they're seeking inside injury info. They do their own grassroots reporting, find ways to get into the facilities of teams and figure out, who is potentially not at 100%, trying to find vulnerable teams to make these good upset picks. And they end up uncovering a widespread gambling ring among the players and teams in college basketball. And so they've stumbled upon, they've been trying to get this injury info. They are trying to gamble themselves, but what they uncover is something far more, illegal, something that's just not at all allowed. They seek to put a stop to it, and so the objective, then the plot of the movie becomes if this failed, aspirational journalist can find a way to break the story, convince the public, and, make himself a name and make himself a career. So you pick the ending that suits you best for that, but that's going to be my idea.
Do we have a title?
We don't have a title.
No title. Okay, that's cool. We'll brainstorm. We'll talk to the other.
I'll give it some thought.
I love how you've got every single aspect of the story, short of like the name of the main character's dog, and we're like, what's it called? It's like, we're working. That's an incredible pitch, Calvin.
I'm a fan. All right, that's a tough one to top.
Okay, so following that up, I actually went a completely different route. At first, I was thinking more of like the typical classic sports blockbuster. I was like, you know what? I would love an Adam Sandler hockey movie. And I'm like, wait, Happy Gilmore exists, so I got to scratch that. Even though I guess like the golf hockey merged. But then I was like, you know what? Something else I find really interesting actually is like the more abstract, individualistic out there sports like free soloing or like ultra marathons where humans push their bodies to the limit. So now switching over, okay, maybe you try like a documentary style, really think outside the box.
Okay.
So a few years ago, I went down this rabbit hole of people who swam the English Channel, which is roughly like 21 miles long. They have like a crew supporting them along the way, but they got to swim like one end to the other nonstop. And I was thinking, like I said, more of a documentary style. It takes roughly 13 hours to get one into the other. Okay, I'm pulling from my little brother here. He's 11, watches Mr. Beast. I'm like, this would make an awesome Mr. Beast type of video where it's like some sort of competition where you can either do it individuals, or have like a relay race of sorts of one end to the other. There's like a prize money for like the team or individual that can swim it the fastest. Obviously, a lot of planning, a lot of training's got to go into this. I think only a couple thousand people have actually completed the full trip in the last like 150 years or so. But completely different route. But I was thinking more of like almost like a competition game style show where you're trying to swim this English Channel and really push the body to the human limit, I guess.
I like it.
Yeah. That's great. That's really oh whoa, we just got balloons.
Yeah, we got balloons on the YouTube stream. I don't know what that means, but
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Those are great. I have always thought that there should be, this is back on the basketball thing, that there should be sort of a Pitch Perfect style movie about like an intramural basketball league in this one college. Like make it a way bigger deal than it is at any college.
I am basketball's a sore subject for me right
fun.
now.
Yes.
Like instead of a riff off, you have like a game of horse between all
Okay.
of the teams.
I like a dunk
Now
contest.
wait, Sammy, show them.
Yeah,
show them
for
why
those of you
I
on the
basketball
stream
is
here,
a
I'll
rough-
go
yeah.
full. See, it's kind of wearing off right now, but if you can see my eye, this one,
eye.
other eye, I don't know. My left eye, there we go, is a little bit bloodshot. It was pretty much swollen shut not that long ago. I think you can attest.
Sammy and I got into a really big fight.
Yeah,
with
no, it was
Mike
really
about everything
nasty.
that- Actually, it's from intramural basketball.
It is from intramural basketball. That's why it was a little bit of a sore subject. Yeah, I was playing some tight defense, and my head and the other guy's head just went on the same course, and that was just not good.
We got Draymond Green playing intramural basketball or what?
I guess so. So not necessarily the best way to start my week this week, but you know what they say, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish, and this is how we're finishing it. And so far so good here in Sports Voice, but we got one more pick'em question, and I couldn't come up with a creative name. I just called it Super Bowl, and it's pretty simple. What was your favorite part of the Super Bowl? My favorite part was honestly the noodles and company I had during the game. I got the pasta fresca, and it was great. Kendrick was a close second. This is going to be Matt and Pierson. Should be a fun duo here. And let's go, Matt, you can go first.
Favorite part of the Super Bowl? Ooh. I'm going to say in the fourth quarter, after that third Kansas City touchdown, everybody kind of going crazy in the dorm saying, oh my God, here we go. Like, Patrick Mahomes is going to find a way to come back, get away.
With like 3 minutes left.
With, like, 3
they'd
minutes left.
already poured the Gatorade.
They already dumped the Gatorade. And like the thing is, like, he's been such an elite quarterback. He's such a legend, and it like that's just personified by like the disbelief in everybody's face after that touchdown. I think that was the bomb to Xavier Worthy. So that was kind of like that just attests to how good of a quarterback that he is. The fact that and we thought a 21-point swing could occur for the Chiefs in a 3-minute period, but I think it was comical. It was hilarious. So that's my favorite part of like watching the Super Bowl with my friends.
Pierson scoots on over.
I do indeed. Yeah. I may have been one of those friends actually there with Matt, and I think I'm gonna take a different angle, also kind of about the Chiefs, but maybe in a little more negative light. I am probably a certified Patrick Mahomes hater. Am I a little salty that they drafted Mitch Trubisky on the Bears? Maybe. But I think what was cool about the Super Bowl was it kind of showed that he was human, right? I mean, it's a guy who kind of is personified. Part of it's like kind of like a larger than life person, like a personality who can't be touched. And that's kind of how I felt like when Brady was doing his thing. And it's not that Mahomes can't get there at some point, but I do think there's something to be said about like him not. I know that like the 3P would have been cool, and I actually. Friend of the show, Jonah McClure, I was arguing with him because he was saying how he was only rooting for Mahomes and for neither team, and I was like, how can you do that?
Really?
Yeah.
That's something you don't hear much. You didn't hear much.
I know,
this
but
year,
I don't know.
Sure.
So I don't know. It was kind of this back and forth, and because like, I think it's sure it can be like a better for the game type thing. But I don't even think about it in that way. It's more so just like I think it's cool to see some parody, cool to see some things, and I think that it also maybe will give more motivation where next year Mahomes will look amazing and we'll end up seeing another Super Bowl from him. We'll see. But, I'd say that was my favorite moment. And specifically, I think personifies the fact that they celebrated way too early, which, to Matt's point, was too early. But I think that's also pretty cool. I mean, I don't necessarily like Philadelphia Eagles fans, especially since they still talk to me about the double doink. But,
don't get me started.
yeah. But, yeah, I think kind of just like, I'm glad the game was still had some impact.
Definitely agree with you there, Pierson. So I'm kind of making this up on the fly, so hopefully Sammy agrees with this as an idea.
Yeah.
Normally the two of us are tasked with deciding our pick'em winners, and my thought is that this time, given that there are 6 of you and that only 2 of you answered each question, that we are going to have the remaining 2 of you vote on each pick'em. Sammy and I will break a tie if necessary.
Okay.
But we'll start with Crazy Trades, which was Gabe and Kyra. So Gabe said Skeens, Kyra said Jokic. So between the other 4 of you, who do you think had the crazier and or truer crazy trade? First, I have to. First, if you think Gabe wins this pick'em, raise your hand. Okay, 2 takers for. So it's split. So we have to. I'll let Sammy break this one.
You know what? The Skeens trade was fun, but I think I gotta go with Jokic here. You know, I think the Paul Skeens is a little not crazy enough because I think the Pirates would do such a thing. Like I think
Wait, just Sammy, could I win by saying that the Dodgers are gonna trade away Shohei Ohtani?
No, but like
that would be crazy.
But I think the Jokic thing, like not this year, but like I think maybe if the Nuggets really struggle one year, I could see it happening. Like I think and that is really crazy. I think considering what the Pirates always do, or what they never do, which is sign free agents, sign their best players, maintain their incredible farm system development, and especially when it comes to pitchers. I think that could happen. Like a year or 2 down the line, Paulski. I mean, because imagine how much they get for that too. So I think Jokic is like within the realm of reality, but like it's crazy. So I got to give Kyra the points on that one. So I guess we'll do the next one, the director's cut vote. So we had Calvin with his the sports journalist discovers a like gambling underworld story.
March Madness.
Yep. And then and then we got Ava with the English Channel Mr. B style competition doc. I mean, I think we have really 2 fun ones.
I think both of these should happen. I think we.
I think we need to get some RTVF kids to make both of these a reality.
Okay, so I guess we'll start. If you think that Calvin's director's cut, I guess which movie would you rather see of the 2, maybe? So if you want to vote for Calvin's director's cut, raise your hand. Another tie? Oh my gosh.
Claire, you can do this one.
This is so tough for me because I think part of what makes this difficult is that these are clearly meant for 2 different platforms. Calvin's could maybe be either like a sort of big budget Netflix comedy, maybe even sort of one of these like you go back to the theaters
or a
kind
thriller.
of comedies, or a thriller. You know, I think it kind of has some Die Hard vibes. Like there could maybe be some action elements to it. I don't know. This could be so many things. I'd rather see this in a movie theater. If we're talking YouTube, I would rather watch Ava's sort of Mr. Beast style competition of the English Channel. I have to go with Calvin here just because of how detailed this plot is. I just think it's completely unlike.
I think he has an unfinished script.
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea for a movie. It's unlike anything I've ever seen or heard of in the sports blockbuster world. So that has to be my winner. But this one's so close.
All right, and maybe we can actually be decisive and not tie on the Super Bowl. So we had Matt's favorite part of the Super Bowl was the Chiefs coming back, but not really coming back because no. And Pierson's was just the Mahomes hater. He liked that. He liked to see Patrick Mahomes show that he was human. So for all those for Pierson. Let's get a hand. Oh, okay, wow.
I'll raise my hand.
There we go.
I like a little.
Good job, guys.
I like a little Patrick Mahomes hate watch. I can't be bad about that.
5 out of 4 votes for Pierson.
There we go. All right. Well, I'm glad we can make a decision and we didn't have to intervene there. So Pierson takes it in dominant fashion, and I think that leads us to our next segment of the show, National Sports Talk.
National Sports Talk. Normally we have pretty detailed guidelines in our rundown, our little document about timing, about what we're going to talk about, just to make sure that the show stays on track. And in violation of that standard, we have a lovely little NBA section here. It has only one bullet point, which is, quote, time to rant about Luka. Yes, we haven't had Sports Voice since. So we touched on this a little bit earlier, but one of, if not the craziest trade in NBA history. This impacts me, I think, very positively as a Lakers fan. Getting Luka out.
You think very positively?
If you're a Mavs fan, I really just don't know how you feel about this. It's a pretty shocking trade all around. Even if you are a Lakers fan, I think there's kind of an emotional attachment to this duo of LeBron and AD that people are used to. And for someone like me who's concerned about the future of the team, I think adding Luka feels maybe as much of, it's not a very natural move, but if it's available to you, it feels like a great move to make. But what are overall thoughts on this? Crazy ideas about this? We talked about trades earlier, but what are maybe some angles of this that you guys don't think we've talked about enough?
Worst trade in NBA history. I genuinely believe that, and here's why. AD's first game with the Mavs, it was great. 26 points in 3 quarters. Proceeds to get injured. You literally can't make that up. So, that's my point right there. An injury-prone AD for an MVP caliber player who's the future of your franchise. You're giving them to the Lakers, pairing him with the greatest player of all time.
Wait, okay.
That's bound. Okay.
Okay.
Arguably, let me say arguably. Arguably
we'll
the
have that
greatest
debate
player.
another time.
Arguably the greatest player of all time with a solid supporting cast. That's an NBA championship that the Mavs just gave the Lakers. Come on, what are we doing here?
This is not an NBA championship for the Lakers. I'm sorry, Claire. I mean, I think the Lakers are much more competitive. I still don't think that they have all of the pieces. I think the West is very strong, and I think that the Lakers will make a run for their money. But I don't know. I think this is more of a future thing for the Lakers. Obviously, I agree. I think the Lakers win this trade. I think once LeBron kind of sunsets, then they'll get to build around Luka, which is a great person to be able to do that. But honestly, I mean, it is a bad trade for the Mavs, but Max Christie's kind of been saving Nico Harrison's butt a little bit. I mean, he's been playing at a crazy level. I think he's averaging 24 points a game since he's come back, which is technically better than Luka. Granted, Luka's on a minutes restriction, but I mean, I think that also is a thing where it's maybe this will work out for the Mavs. I'm not sure, but it really has to be a win now versus the Lakers have plenty of time to make this work.
Yeah. This isn't really a comment that's going to keep anyone long. It's just that the Wizards are so far away from making a run at the playoffs. The Wizards are so in the hole, and this rebuild is going to take several years. That's all I have to say.
The Bulls are farther. Unfortunately.
On a different note, I think this could be good for the Mavs short term, but I just think they're going to have trouble potentially getting players to come. Because, yes, it's a business, but, I mean, this shook the whole league. Players didn't even think it was real. So now it's how am I going to get another good player if I don't feel I can trust the front office? I think that's going to be an issue. I also think their current players on the roster, maybe Kyrie Irving will want to leave. Who knows? Yeah. Him and Luka were very close. Kyrie likes LeBron. Who knows? I think
Kyrie LeBron, oh boy.
I just think they made more issues. I get they want to get him out for whatever reasons I don't agree with, but whatever. But I just think you've kind of branded yourself as a team that is just business first. I don't care about my best player.
Yeah. Well, and Kyra, I do think that's an interesting point because a lot of folks have argued that in the LeBron era, basketball. That this is actually maybe going back to what used to be kind of the status quo in basketball, which is that the teams have the power, the players don't. LeBron kind of changed that and ushered in an era of players having more power over the teams. And I think in the sort of social media world, that can kind of make a lot of sense. But some folks have been arguing that this is sort of a return back to what used to be the orthodoxy, which is, although this is a wild trade, it didn't seem that LeBron was consulted on this, and AD is one of his closest friends. It didn't seem that Luka had any idea that this was coming, and so it does feel maybe like a shift back toward the team saying, we're going to try to do what's best for us from a long-term perspective, maybe from a business perspective, and that might not be what the players want. And so whether you think that's a positive thing or a negative thing, remains to be seen. Maybe this is just going to be a one-off. I don't know how solid of a shift that is, but I do think it's something to take note of.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, Kyra, that you kind of bring it up from that perspective of like players and maybe feeling alienated from the front office, because I think that's something that is across any professional sport. It's a conversation. You talk about loyalty and guys criticizing players for having a lack of loyalty, particularly in the NBA. And well, yes, I think that's a valid criticism, and I am one to really support guys that stay with a team and make an effort to be loyal. Think Dame Lillard with Portland, he's the classic example, but I think it's tough to criticize players for showing lack of loyalty when a front office and the Mavs front office, like they just did, can do that. Because it has to go both ways, and clearly there's not loyalty from the front office, so you can't fault players for wanting to get what's best for them, because the teams are at the end of the day out for what they think their best interests are. Do we have anything else to add on Luka? I know this is something that we all have very hot takes on.
Yeah, here, real quick,
Sure.
I have a lot of thoughts, but I'll just play a bit of the devil's advocate here, because one of my first questions, as soon as I saw the helmet, was like, why Dallas? Like, why would you do this? And frankly, like, after a bit of digging, from what I saw, like, the main thing from sources, especially from the front office, were saying it was more of Luka's lack of concern for taking care of his body and his overall fitness, which I think, to be fair, has showed at times on the court. To be fair, I think he's so skilled, he's been able to compensate for that a lot. But I can also see from like a rebuild standpoint, when your best player has a mentality like that, how that can filter down to the rest of the team and make things more difficult, especially when you're trying to reach that championship caliber.
Yeah.
And I could see how for Luka then making this move to LeBron to be that sort of mentor figure for him, and then coming from Dallas, I don't know how AD is going to then change that legacy Doncic has left behind. Mindset is the problem here. But then from a Lakers standpoint, I could see also with AD gone now too, with his problems defensively, especially getting up and down the court in transition. Now with LeBron, Luka, if you can find someone who can fill that defensive role, I could see them like going above and beyond. So.
Yeah. No, it is interesting kind of thinking that devil's advocate position. That's certainly the rationale that the Mavs front office is using, and I think we will look at this trade less harshly in like 10, 15 years from now than people are currently looking at. I still think it was a pretty terrible decision, but I think down the line, long term, I think maybe this is going to look really stupid, but I think that we just have to see. But let's see. Honestly, I think we have to move on to draft day. As much as I want to get to MLB talk.
We have to touch on one college baseball.
Oh yeah, okay.
We have to. Yeah, there was a text sent to me by our good friend Dylan Friedland about a baseball game, Rhode Island versus William and Mary. He said, you have to check out this game. It's the craziest box score I've ever seen. So I look it up. I click on the link. I'm absolutely dumbfounded by this game. Rhode Island beat William and Mary 36-22. Had a very high scoring top of the fifth with 17 runs. Had 21 at-bats in that inning. William and Mary had 10 runs in the bottom of the second. Truly just a crazy game. You should.
Does it have a length?
Look it up.
How long?
And check it out.
Yeah. 4 hours and 30 minutes.
4 hours.
That's honestly, I don't think that.
Yeah.
Rhode Island had 24 hits and 17 walks.
24 hits?
What I just said. 24 hits to get 36 runs with 17 walks.
I saw
That's
four.
insane.
Can we get a confirmation on this? I saw 3 guys with at least 4 hits in the box score.
I'm sure. Mathematically,
Across both
you
teams.
got to think that
that would have
to happen. Yeah.
Okay, but do you realize how insane that is? A 4-hit day for any college baseball player might come once every 2 years. Realistically, in conference. So for 3 different guys to have 4 hits on a single day, that must have been straight madness.
That's one of the crazier box scores I think you're ever going to see in any sport, honestly. With that, I do, unfortunately, we'll have to get to some MLB talk eventually here on Sports Voice. So, a reason to come back for some of our MLB guys. I know. You'll have to come back, Gabe. That's what it means. But I do want to get to this draft day. So, I split it up into teams. This was totally random. I don't remember how I did it, but I don't know. Is this how we did it? Or yeah, let's see. Calvin, Pierson, and Kyra. Okay, actually, let's do it just by how you guys are lined up. So yeah, let's make it easier. So we'll do on the right side. So we'll do Ava, Calvin, and Matt, and then my left, which is Pierson, Gabe, and Kyra. And you guys are going to be working together to draft a 3v3 basketball team of actors. So, my caveat, because we've done some similar segments to this before, your actor cannot have played professional basketball. So, LeBron and Michael Jordan in Space Jam do not count. That's cheating. So, an actor that has not played professionally is fair game. So, let's start with the right side. You guys will get the number 1 pick in the actors draft here for this 3v3 basketball team, and Claire and I will declare the winner at the end. So, declare, yes.
So we have like a little team conference.
Yeah, you guys can talk it over, and feel free to...
We can get a little mic'd up thing.
Mic'd up team conference, yeah. So, but try and make it quick. Yeah.
I'm thinking of like
Jason Collins.
I was thinking it was
Really?
Michael
Yeah.
Jordan.
Maybe Jason Collins at a high school.
That's like a
All right.
Yeah.
Who do we want our first pick?
I
to
think
be?
we were two.
Who we think?
Who's gonna be more likely to go first? Do you think? Like,
5,
what-
4, 3, 2, 1. All right, what do we got? Who's our first pick?
Go for it.
All right.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, number 1 overall. Okay, I like it. I feel like he's an athlete. I mean, he's definitely an athlete. But all right, so we got
I think it's 6.
and Michael got Michael Jordan going on too, which is not the end.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah. It is a Michael
Oh, it's
Jordan.
for the parallel.
All right, team number 2. Gabe
All
looks
right.
like he has a pick, the 2nd overall.
We need our center. We need our forward, and we're gonna take the Rock.
Okay.
He was on my list. Should I have
6'5",
brought it
just
up? He was on
absolute
here, and I
beast.
was
Especially when we're
like,
talking actors, he will literally back down anyone in the paint. Nobody is playing defense on Dwayne Johnson.
All right, and since we only have 2 teams, we will not go snake. So we will go back to team number 1. So we have Michael B. Jordan and The Rock. All right.
Who's our next?
I mean, that's a good forward if The Rock can run the floor, but you know who can run the floor? Will Smith.
Sure.
That's our number 2 pick.
All right, Will Smith, number 2, number their 2nd player. All right. All right. Team 2.
Wait,
Here's-
who'd they pick?
they picked
Will
Will
Smith.
Smith.
Oh, okay. We're going to go with one who Shaq said knew the game at a deep level. We're going to go with Adam Sandler.
All right, yeah.
And so he's
known baller.
Known baller. I mean,
He would fit really well in the early 2010s era with the baggy shorts.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Man.
So like he's always there. He's hanging out with NBA guys. I mean, I feel like he just has that aura, and he can work well with The Rock. You know, like he's been in a movie with him probably at some point. Maybe, I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
So that means we have each side gets one more pick. Back to team number 1. All right, I'll give you a few seconds here, but I'll start my countdown quickly.
Yeah, I wish we had some Jeopardy music.
I know.
Oh wait, we actually do have sound effects, Sammy.
Let's see.
Let's do
I don't know if that's
That
playing.
doesn't work.
It's okay.
uh
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. And what do we got, team number 1?
Okay, this one makes a little more sense for the context, but you can't guard a guy you can't see. I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my 2nd John Cena reference.
Yeah.
In the 3 episodes I've been on SportsVoice, so you know whoever they pick is not gonna be able to guard him at all. So there you go.
You played soccer.
All right. So that rounds out team number 1. Team number 2. Who will round out the roster?
All right, we're taking Terry Crews. We need the
Crews.
team morale. He
Yeah.
you know he's good in the clubhouse.
He can guard.
Absolute
He can guard
beast.
Michael B. Jordan.
He played in the NFL. Not everyone.
Yeah.
Terry Crews played in the NFL. Dwayne Johnson played college football at the University of Miami. We got 2 huge athletes to get in the paint. Terry Crews 6'2" can also play like a stretch 3. So we just have 2 elite athletes and a shooter. Like that's all you need for 3-on-3.
Okay. So for those of you listening at home, we have 3 minutes left in the show. We will recap these teams. Team number 1, which is our lovely friends on the right side of your screen if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening, just imagine they're on the right. Michael B. Jordan, Will Smith, and John Cena. Team number 2, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Adam Sandler, and Terry Crews. These are 2 good teams, and it's tough to decide. Claire, I think I'm thinking. I think I may have an idea. I'm thinking.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. I don't know. I think for both Adam Sandler and John Cena, I think are the 2 here that give me the most uncertainty. I'm not sure that either one of them would actually be that great at basketball.
But you can't see John Cena.
That's a crazy.
But neither can his team.
Come on.
I don't know. I think.
How are they gonna pass to him?
Yeah, Adam Sandler is good at basketball.
I think Team 2 might actually be too big. I like the
This is outrageous.
I like that Will Smith. I like that Will Smith. You got Will Smith on Team 1. I feel like that's kind of a good call. I don't know. I don't know. I might. I mean, Team 2. Yeah, I don't know. This is tough.
You know what? I think team construction wise, I'm gonna go with team number 2.
What?
So here's my rationale. I feel like Adam Sandler. He's your point guard,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, like Adam Sandler.
You see him shoot?
He's distributing.
Guys, watch him on YouTube.
No,
Trust.
Adam Sandler's a baller.
He's good.
Adam Sandler's good, man. I mean, a tri-sport athlete. You got golf. You got hockey. You got.
I was saying
you
Happy
got-
Gilmore because I said that earlier.
Yeah, right.
Let's be.
No, okay. So I feel like team 1. I feel like you have. Like, I don't know who's gonna run the point for you guys.
Have
Is
you
it Michael
seen?
B?
Have
I
you
mean-
seen Michael B. Jordan in Creed? That's literally the most
Yeah,
athletic.
but he's a fake boxer.
That's
We
the
gotta
most
realize.
athletic dude. That's on
But I don't know if he
board.
is he gonna facilitate?
Yes.
I think Adam Sandler's gonna facilitate, man.
You think Adam
Yeah.
Sandler?
Michael B.
you
Jordan
think
is selfish.
you think Adam Sandler is going to be able to get past Michael B. Jordan? You want to tell me that Michael B.
No,
Jordan
I
wouldn't
think-
put Adam
I think
Sandler in a
that-
telephone
Dude, I
booth?
think that The Rock can. He could mismatch
The
easy.
Rock, have you seen? The Rock probably can't. The Rock can barely run down the entrance ramp when he makes his entrance in WWE. How do you think he's
But I
going to run
think
the
they
floor as a big
They
man?
overpower
Come
you in the
on,
paint,
bro.
and then they kick it out to Adam Sandler. Sandler's got that 3-point
Sandler has
shot.
the
We're
shot.
too big and we have a shooter. Like, what do you want to do?
Okay,
Y'all
the
picked too
Rock.
small. Too small.
The
small
Rock's
ball.
the
With
Rock's
this-
arms are too big to
I would
even
put
lift it
legitimate
above his
money
head.
on this
Okay,
team in
Adam
that
Sandler's
matchup.
gonna get put in the telephone booth by Michael B. Jordan. And
Well,
who was your third pick?
With
Adam
this very
Sandler.
contentious
NFL.
debate, we will end it there. Keep debating. We may even do an Instagram post and see what the people have to say.
Yeah,
I think we have to go to the people to truly conclude this. Thank you guys for coming on. This was a historic Sports Voice. I'll go to the wide angle one more time on YouTube. You can't even see everyone because Pierson slide in real quick. There we go. Yep, that's 6 people on Sports Voice tonight in the OACR. It was fun. It was awesome. It was electric.
Boogie woogie woogie.
Boogie woogie
Boogie,
woogie.
woogie, woogie.
And with that, thank you guys all for being on the show. Thank you guys all for listening over the air or on YouTube. And for Claire Connor, I'm Sammy Krimstein. We will be back next week, 8 o'clock Central Time. And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys later. Kennedy Hill